Sup everyone, welcome to Salvo EDC. Today I'm back with an interesting little knife, the Civivi Scintilla. What makes it so special is that technically you cannot buy this thing. Sure, you might see it occasionally on the second-hand market, but as brand new, this knife was only available as a BladeHQ promotion. Whenever you bought something expensive, you could get this as a gift. This makes the Scintilla pretty rare and highly collectible. Now, I buy from BladeHQ a lot, which might be an understatement. So I was lucky to get a couple of these, and what I do is to give them away to my best knife buddies. The fact that it's a quality user item that comes without a price tag makes it a perfect gift. I also know that they can't just wake up the next morning and get this anytime they want. And I'm almost completely out of them. I decided to make a quick video for you guys while I still have this last one, so you could also see why this small knife is pretty cool. If you appreciate my effort, please press the like button. So first of all, the Scintilla arrives in super nice packaging. This is something that Civivi does exceptionally well in my opinion. We get this white paper box that holds a nylon pouch, and I really love these carry cases. They are my #1 favorite carry option when I travel with my collection. And I find it very ironic that I also use these Civivi pouches to shelter my $1000 pieces. As I'm holding this bag, I feel it's fully packed, so I go ahead and open it carefully. Here is the knife, the most important thing, and this is a microfiber cloth. We also have some paperwork and an Elementum sticker, which is probably the most popular Civivi model out there. And we got this brand sticker too. This package is pretty cool, and I love all these accessories. But let's look at the knife. I'd like to highlight that it has multiple opening options, as we got this flipper tab and also a thumb stud. So let's try the thumb stud first. And I think I can also spidey flick it. And now what everybody was waiting for, drums, the flipper action. Well, it's pretty decent. Usually I'm afraid of small budget flippers as they are usually easy to misfire. But the Scintilla feels pretty okay actually. The only thing that bothers me is this disgusting liner lock. If you watch my channel, you might have discovered that I have a thing for these. And on top of my bias, this lock feels a bit weird too. I think the root of the problem is that the blade is super thin and my chubby fingers can't really reach the lock well. The liner also feels very stiff and the travel distance is too short. So I don't really feel when I successfully disengage it, and I just end up pushing it for seconds for no reason. But it is not too terrible to be honest, just not very fidget friendly in my opinion. Now let's do some comparisons. So this is the Civivi Scintilla in my medium-large hands. And you can already see that this is a tiny knife, but I wanna put it up against something you surely know. This is a Spyderco Para 3 for example, which looks like a giant next to the Scintilla. So let's grab something even smaller. I think the Civivi Baby Banter will do. So you can see that size-wise the Scintilla is in between the two, which makes it a very EDC friendly option. But the small size shouldn't fool you. The Scintilla has a large, generous finger choil, which makes it something that I just call a little big knife. This means I can have a full grip on the Scintilla, despite it being tiny. Holding this knife in a traditional grip feels very natural and comfy. I do not experience any kind of hot spots, and the well-placed and angled thumb rest gives me a decent control over the blade. I also really like this leaf-shaped geometry. It has just the right amount of a belly, a full flat grind, and a relatively thin blade stock. So you can imagine that this thing cuts really well. Our blade steel is D2, which is an affordable tool steel with an okay performance. My personal issue with this steel is that it comes from many different sources, and some companies make it better than others. I love a good CPM D2 all day because that thing is standardized, but I have no clue about this one on the Scintilla. In general, people pick this steel for its toughness. This means D2 doesn't have the best edge retention, but in an exchange, it should be easy enough to touch up the edge. And strap-in can take you a long way with this steel. In my experience, D2 is a good steel for this particular knife, because the high toughness allows us to get away with such a thin blade stock. Also, this blade is very thin behind the edge, and I think geometry is a lot more important on a pocket knife than a fancy steel. So I would expect the Scintilla to easily outperform many other knives with much more expensive materials, but less slicey dimensions. To complement our working steel choice, we also got a pretty attractive looking stonewash finish, and I like this finish as it usually lasts for a very long time. And even if you scratch it up, the infamous D2 patina will probably kick in and make it less obvious. When it comes to the handles, we also went tough, as this knife comes with G10 scales. I honestly love it and I always highly recommend it. I think it is way better than injection molded plastics, such as FRN, mostly because G10 is rigid, durable and has absolutely zero flux. It has a pretty nice texture in too. I find this G10 surprising because at the end of the day this is still a free knife, but the scales don't feel cheap at all. The reversible deep carry clip is also pretty cool. It has a very nice flex to it and it is very comfortable both in my pocket and my palm. But the biggest thing I love about the clip is the recessed screws, which is unprecedented in this category. And I genuinely think Civivi did a good job with this clip. And as we finished our full circle around the Civivi Scintilla, I have to say this knife is pretty okay. This made me wonder how much could this knife sell for in theory. And I'm guessing maybe about 50 bucks. Especially if I think that the Baby Banter is a similar knife from the same brand and it goes for 60. As I was prepping for this video, I quickly looked it up on eBay and I saw one selling for exactly $100. Which is pretty wild if you ask me. Maybe some people would argue that the Scintilla should be way under 50 bucks, since it looks very old school and super vanilla, but I think the aesthetics have their own purpose, as this knife is meant to be an unobtrusive, subcompact worker blade. And despite the restrained looks, the Scintilla still shines in some aspects, as we have multiple opening options, tough materials and good ergonomics. The other reason why this knife also feels a little extra is the limited availability. As the Scintilla comes in small numbers from BladeHQ only, on paper it is not a fancy or expensive knife by any means, but it still found itself a way to become special. And this is something I can truly appreciate. What do you think about this knife, guys? And what price tag would you put on it? Let me know in a comment, and also if you appreciate my work, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more videos. Take care guys, and see you in the next one.